Namaste.
Ramana, we welcome several guests this morning. In the second line is Susan Calendon.
Okay.
It's in the second line, Mr. Orenshaw.
Okay.
And beside her to the left is René Hoog from Holland.
Okay.
And here in the front is JP or Jean-Pierre Gerbet from Vietnam.
Okay.
In the second line is Torsten Breeks from Denmark.
Okay.
And Ryan McMahon is here.
Okay.
He's from New York. And then we have back Kevin and Susan.
Okay.
And for the first time in Satsang with you in India is Carolyn Emery. She's in the second line.
Okay.
I think I have them all.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Namaste. And everyone, welcome back. Okay, we have some questions. Let's see if we can get these first. Okay, let's see if we can get to all of these questions. Perhaps we can. Is there anyone who has a question that will not perhaps be able to come back Friday, just in case we don't get to you? I will start off with you. So we have questions from Susan, Suzanne, Renee, Jean-Pierre, and Torsten. Am I saying it right? Torsten Breek? So is either one of you that would not be able to come back next week in case I don't get to your question? All right? But you.
And Susan and Renee also, the two ladies also.
All of you, huh? Well, then we're going to have to get to them, huh? All right, let's see what we can do. You're putting a load on me here, huh? Okay, well, we'll get to them. Okay, Suzanne asks, how do I let go of my expectation that presence should experience itself in the same beautiful, joyful, fresh way as once experienced? In the same beautiful, joyful, fresh way, I'm assuming, as you once experienced. And how are you going to get rid of your expectation that it should express itself in this same way? Okay, again, which one is Suzanne?
In the second line.
All right. Is it doing that now?
Expressing itself?
Is it expressing itself right now, that way?
No.
Oh.
No, that's
Well, if it's not expressing that self right now, what could I do? Huh? So, you're wanting to have it again, but you're wanting to make sure that it happens only that way?
no, not that way, but the quality, the freshness, the aliveness, the richness, the fullness, the aliveness.
I didn't
So
hear
the
that.
quality of that experience, of the joy and the freshness and the vitality that.
Well, don't you have that all the time? You don't? Why not?
Because I have one thought with me all the time.
One thought of you all the time?
You have thought of me, and this is not it. This is not it.
And that's not it?
That's haunting me all the time.
Ramana, she says she has one thought with her all the time, that this is not it.
That this is not it. Well, if you were to let go of that thought that this is not it, tell me, what would it be like? If you were to let go of that thought that this is not it, then what would be your experience? Wouldn't you have whatever it is that you're wanting if you were to let go of the thought that you don't have whatever it is that you're wanting?
I thought so.
Huh?
I thought so, but...
You thought so? Whoa. Now, wait a minute. That's not my question. You're now having a thought that you're not having the experience that you're wanting. Right? You're having a thought, and this thought that you're having is that you're not having the experience that you're wanting. Is that correct? Then let go of that thought. Just do. Whose thought is it? Whose thought?
It just pops up all the time
Where does it pop up?
in my consciousness.
In your consciousness. Well, is that going on in you?
It seems so.
Well, then let go of it. It's your thought. Is it someone else forcing that thought into you? Or is it you having that thought?
I attract that thought. Yes.
I'm sorry?
I attract that thought, it seems.
You attract that thought to you. Well, quit attracting it to you. If you quit attracting it to you, where will you be? Gotcha. Come on. Where would you be if you didn't have that thought?
Without thought.
You would be without that thought. Now, what would it feel like to be without that thought?
Fresh. Fresh and alive and beautiful.
There you go. There you go. So don't have that thought. It's entirely up to you. I'll bet you haven't even considered it.
I did.
Huh?
I did consider it.
All right. What did you come up with?
I knew it.
Did you still hold on to the thought while you were considering it?
Well, a new expectation built up.
Oh,
Okay,
a
now
new
I'm
expectation. How did that come about?
So now it should be a fresh.
I'm sorry?
I said, I let go of that thought, but it still isn't fresh and alive. And
But how did that happen?
the thought come back.
Another thought.
The same thought comes
Ah, see, there you go. Have you got it yet that thinking is stinking?
back. What? Thinking.
Haven't you got it yet that thinking is stinking?
Simply don't know how to let go.
You don't know how to stop thinking? Well, just abide in the awareness that you are prior to thought. Do you think while you're in dreamless sleep?
No idea, but probably
Huh?
not. Not aware.
I know you're serious, and I am too. And I'm being more serious than you are. Huh? When I say to you, just don't identify with that thought. It's your thought. You don't have to identify with it, do you? Have you ever heard the story about the person that was told that he could not to take a medication, and if you take this medication, it would be sure to cure you of all your conditions. The only problem is that when you take this medication, you should never think of monkeys. Huh? It will cure you of anything, but just don't think of monkeys when you take this medication. You ever heard that?
Yeah, something similar.
You think you'd have any problem taking that medication?
Yes.
You would? Well, very simply, the way to take that medication is while you're taking that medication, think of elephants. Are you with me?
Yes.
Could you do that?
Yes.
Well, do that right now. Just think of elephants and don't think of this problem that you're having. Huh? Just see nice, beautiful, pink elephants. My love, it is possible to abide in the nature of your being, the pure nature of your being, the awareness that you are, free of thought. Thinking is occurring in the mind, but you, the awareness that you are, is not occurring in the mind. You don't occur in your mind. Your mind occurs in you. Doesn't it? Well, then just abide in the awareness without thought. Right now, this moment. You're abiding right now in the awareness that you are. And I'm perceiving in this moment you're not thinking other than what you're thinking about that I'm saying. So just abide in this awareness that we both are. Doesn't that feel better than thinking? Yes, it does, doesn't it? This is all there is to it. And you know what? You've always been this awareness. You've never not been this awareness. Even when you were a little girl, you were this awareness. This very same awareness. And you didn't have to think to be this awareness. You are this awareness. aren't you? Yes. Do you see it? Yes. Just stay as this awareness. This is who you are. This is the awareness that you are, and it has always been the awareness that you are. And you don't have to think to be in this awareness. Just stay as this awareness and be happy. Okay? Are you all right now? Okay. Thank you for your question. Okay? Renee. Okay, Renee. You had the same question almost.
It's almost answered.
How can I stop thinking? Just open up and let it come in life as it is, without putting restrictions on myself with patterns like putting myself down. My goodness, why would you ever want to put yourself down?
That is a mechanism.
Show it to me.
Sorry?
Show me your mechanism. I want to see it.
I can't do that now. Because it's a mechanism. It comes and it goes.
It comes and goes. Well, where does it come from and where does it go?
From my character and mind.
From your character and your mind. Well, tell me about what kind of a character do you have?
Well,
You have a divine character. Why would you put yourself down?
no, that's my question. Why should I?
You're going to ask me why you're putting you down?
Then how can I stop it? That's the question.
I'm sorry?
This question is, how can I stop this?
How can you stop putting yourself down? You're going to ask me how you can stop putting you down? How in the world can I answer that? You're the one that's putting you down. You might ask me how I can stop putting you down, but I don't put you down. Come on. Why would you put yourself down?
That just happens.
How?
Yeah.
Tell me how it happens. You tell me how it happens, and I'll tell you how to quit doing it.
Okay. It's just, I think I'm not good enough for something. And
You just said I. What did you say? I what?
I'm not good enough.
How do you know that? How do you get that notion?
That's a feeling. That's a feeling.
A feeling?
Oh, I can't do this.
I'm sorry?
The feeling, I cannot do this.
The feeling. How can you have that feeling? How do you do it?
It's there.
How do you have that feeling? You must think that you... Huh? Mustn't you not think that you're not good enough? That I can't do this? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Huh? Tell me what you think.
I think that I am not able
You think that you're not able to what?
Well, nothing specific.
Well, can you lift a 1,000-pound weight?
No.
Well, that's pretty ordinary. I can't either. Can you lift a 1-pound weight?
Yes.
Well, how do you know you can?
I've done it.
Certainly. So what's your problem?
You mean you have just, you do it and then you find out?
Well, certainly.
Yeah, that's true. Easy.
So do you think ahead of time you can't do it, so you just don't do it?
Yeah.
Huh? So your problem is the same here as Suzanne's. You think yourself into the problem. Does anyone here know what this is all about?
Yes.
Don't we all see that we just do it to ourselves by thinking? Are you your thoughts? Then why do you want to identify with those thoughts when you're not those thoughts anyway? That's no big mystery, is it? Look. Just look. Just look and see. We identify with thoughts about ourselves as though those thoughts about ourselves is what we are. Anyone ever done that? My goodness.
Most of the time.
My goodness. Let me tell you something. You become what you think about. And what you think about grows. I would suggest you not do that. This lady right here is having no problem with it at all. She's not thinking about it. If you don't think about it, you don't have a problem. Have you ever noticed? I'll bet you if you think you have a problem, I'll bet you believe that you have a problem. Huh? Is that right? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Huh? If you think you've got a problem, guess what? You have a problem. Well, why would you want to think that you have a problem and then have a problem? I guess no one's ever told you. Huh? Did y'all come all the way here for me to tell you this? Well, all you lovely people, I love you all. I'm certainly glad you came here today for me to tell you this. Tell me, what is your problem if you don't think about it? What is your problem if you don't think about it? Can you tell me? Do you see you don't have a problem if you don't think about it? It's just that simple. Now, of course, Bhagavan Ramana has given us the most direct and immediate way there is to be free of identification with thought. The moment you have a thought, you ask, who's having it? If you stay with the inquiry, who's having the thought, withdraw your attention from identification with the thought, you no longer have the thought. And if you don't have the thought, you don't have the problem. Isn't that simple enough? Now, some of you have read this already. You've heard this already, haven't you? I think all of you that are here have heard it one time or another. From probably reading it from Bhagavad, right? Well, did you do it? Why don't you practice it? Practice what you read. Okay, now practice what I'm sharing with you. Very simple. You are not your mind. You're not your body. You have a body, you have a mind, but you're not your body and you're not your mind. Is that pretty basic? Do you know the difference between you and your body and your mind? Pretty simple. They are your possessions. Everyone in this room is wearing clothing. Thank goodness, I guess. Would you inadvertently or accidentally or on purpose or whatever identify with your shirt or your blouse or your sari or your trousers? Would you identify with them and say they're me? Would you? Would anybody do that? Aren't they you're not, are anyone here wearing someone else's clothing? Is it your clothing? Or at least it's yours while you're wearing it, isn't it? Isn't it? So it's your clothing, right? It's your possession. Chances are you packed it in your own bag when you came to India, or if you lived in India, you just pull it out of your drawer, your wardrobe, or wherever, your closet, or wherever, and put it on. Isn't this kind of basic? Isn't it? Pretty basic. You are not your clothing. You get that? Aren't you glad I told you that? You are not your clothing. You own your clothing, but you're not your clothing. Some of you, maybe all of you, those of you from the West particularly, I would imagine either ride in or own an automobile. Am I correct? Some of you ride in an automobile. Did you ride in a taxi cab when you came here from Chennai or wherever? Or an auto rickshaw? When you were riding in the auto rickshaw, did you confuse the auto rickshaw for you? You say, this is me. You didn't do that. You would never do that. You would never confuse the auto rickshaw for yourself, would you? Well, likewise, you have a body, you have a mind, you are not your body, and you're not your mind. I'm not making fun of you, I'm telling you a fact. Look to see to what extent we identify with the body and the mind as though the body and the mind is who we are. Have you ever considered that these are your possessions and they're not you? Really look at it. Now, if you're getting it, if you're considering that the body and the mind are your possessions, that's what you own, they belong to you. If someone takes you by the hand or takes a hold of your body, you're going to say, let go of whose body? Who? Who are you going to say? Whose body? You're going to say, let go of my body, right? It's your body. It's not someone else's body. It is yours. It's your body and it's your mind. But look to what extent we are identified with the body and the mind as though that is me. Look at it. Tell yourself the truth. Be honest with yourself. To what extent are you identified with your body and your mind and you're taking them to be you? You're not your body. You're not your mind. You have a body. You have a mind. Your mind is the record of all of the experience that has occurred with the body ever since the body was born. But you are the awareness that watches the body, that sees the body, that watches the mind, that sees the mind. Right now you have a sense of I. You have a sense of I that relates to the body, that relates to the mind. The sense of I. I, me, my mind. You know the mantra? I, me, my mind, I, me, my mind, I, me, my mind, I, me, my mind, I, me, my mind. That's the mantra. Who is doing the mantra? You say, I am doing the mantra, but who's the awareness that is doing the mantra? This awareness that is doing the mantra is you. You are the one that is the witness of the mantra. You're the one that is the witness of the I thought. Don't you see your own I thought? Aren't you aware you have an I thought, that this is the primal thought? And without the I thought, you can't even have a he, she, it, or them, or you thought. Could you? You couldn't have it. It would be impossible to have a you thought without first having an I thought that has the you thought. Do we see it? I'm not sure that you all get what I'm saying. Or do you all see it? The I thought comes before the you thought. And it's totally dependent upon the I thought. The you thought is totally dependent upon the you thought. You can't have a sense of you, a sense of other, without first there being a sense of I. And that's a thought. That's a thought. Make the distinction between the thought I and the awareness that has the thought I. Now, in all due respect, probably this has not been pointed out to you. You have not had a friend to come along and point this out to you for you to see it clearly and distinctly for yourself. Or even if you did see it, somehow or another you've gotten caught up in the habit. The habit of identifying with the I thought as though the I thought is you. It's very important that you make the distinction between you, which is awareness, and the I thought. Can you do that? Is anyone here having a problem with that? Anyone? Very simply, that's basically all there is to it. Now, you have the I thought. Out of the I thought, you have thoughts. Other thoughts. Dependent upon the I thought. But those are just thoughts. That's not you. No matter what the thought is, that's not you. Even the thought of awareness is not you. The thought of awareness is the thought of awareness. You're you. You with this? This is a mug. And in it is water. Do you know that the thought of water will not quench my thirst? Anyone here thirsty? The thought of water will not quench your thirst. Will it? The thought of food will not do anything to your hunger. other than maybe entice it a little more. Am I making myself clear? The thought of the thing, paradoxically, as essence is not the thing, but as far as the mind is concerned, the mind says the thought of the thing is the thing. And as long as you identify with the sense of I, that it's got you. And it says the thought of me and the thought of what I tell you to think is who you are. And then you fall for the trick of your mind. Are you all with me? Really see this. See what you're doing to yourself. And stop it. Right now. This moment. And you no longer have to be at the effect of your mind and what your mind is doing to you. Never again. You do not have to be at the effect of your mind. Now, if you stay at the effect of your mind, guess what? Dum-da-dum-dum. Dum-da-dum-dum-dum. Do you get it? Don't stay at the effect of your mind. You have a mind, you're not your mind. You are the awareness that is prior to the mind, free of the mind, and is never at the effect of the mind. Everything that you're thinking and everything that you're experiencing is going on in the awareness that you are. It's not the awareness that you are. The awareness is prior to, the witness of, the seer of everything that is going on. Yes?
Ramana, what makes thoughts or mind start to work? It could be feelings, it could be memories, the things that come up within the body perhaps, or that...
Who wants to know?
You think as long as you don't think, that's enough.
Why not? Do you need any more?
But that's why it's difficult for to do, not to have thoughts.
Who said so?
I? No. I know. But still.
No buts. Look. See, don't buy that.
No.
Why would you want to buy that? That's what's going to keep you into limitation from now on if you continue to buy that. Okay? Pretty basic. Are we talking now about wisdom? Huh? Or ignorance? You want to stay in wisdom or in ignorance? Come on. You know you don't want to stay in the same patterns.
No.
Okay, well look. Don't buy into those patterns. Inquire into the awareness. Go back all the way into the pure awareness. Don't stay in the mind, stay in the awareness. Okay? All right, where are you now?
Starting to.
I'm sorry?
I'm starting to.
Don't start, do it. Okay, I accept your starting, but don't slip back. You agree?
Yes.
Okay. You too? What is this? Don't give me this wishy-washy.
But thoughts still come and try to grab me. Then I can let them go.
But you see the thoughts, don't you?
Yes, sometimes, but sometimes some thoughts are more tricky than others, and I.
So what? But can't you see them? Don't you know that when one is trivial, it's trivial, and when one is strong, it's strong, but you're there as the awareness, seeing that and knowing that?
Sometimes after some time I get it. When they're very strong.
Don't you, even in the moment when you say sometimes, sometimes, right then you're knowing that it's sometimes, sometimes, aren't you? Right in that moment.
Right now, yeah.
Yes. This moment. This is the only moment there is. Can you show me any other moment?
No.
So this is the only one. So don't give me none of this wishy-washy. Huh? I'm your friend. I'm here to be your friend. Your mind, it's not your friend. So I'm saying don't pay any attention to your mind. You stay here in this awareness that you are. And when can you be aware?
No.
I'm sorry?
Now.
Exactly. You can't be aware then. You can only be aware now. You stay now in this awareness. Okay. All right? Are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Jean-Pierre. Did I say it right?
Yes.
What changed in A. Ramana, me, my life, after awakening? Well, don't you know? Don't you already know? Is this you?
Yes, it is.
I'm just sharing it with you. And what is life like now? How do you live from and as the self right now? Just the same way you do. I just awoke to the awareness I am. So in a manner of speaking, nothing changed, but everything was different. Are you with me? You got it? Same thing with you. Awareness is what you are, not the mind. Just simply see it and get it. You are awareness, you're not the mind. You have a mind, you're not the mind. But awareness is what you are. Right now, this instant, this moment. Where do you have to go to be yourself? How far are you away from yourself?
I don't have to go anywhere.
I'm sorry?
I don't have to go anywhere.
Exactly. This is all there is to it. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. You are. You are already and have always been that which you seek. Are you ready to accept that? That's the key. Okay? All right. Got it? All right. Is it Torsten? Is that right? Torsten. Your last name is Bree? Bree. Okay. Can you shed some light on why I seem to forget myself completely when working with people and simply come from source and then look and then lose it? How do you lose it?
Actually, what I
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding you.
I think what I said was that when I'm working in my job,
Well, what's that got to do with it? Witness the sense of I returning and no longer at peace and ease. A sense of I? So you think you're not, and then you identify with your thoughts?
But it's more than a week ago. I don't remember the question.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember the question.
You don't remember the question?
No, precisely. But I think if I can rephrase from my memories of the year.
Okay, tell me what your problem is.
Yeah, I think my question was that I seem to be able to let go of my thoughts of myself as the ego when I work and when I'm with other people.
Wait just a minute. You said with the thoughts of myself, my ego, or you think that your ego is you?
No, I don't. I know my ego is not me, but it seems to go away when I'm working. For instance, let's just stay there. When I'm working, it's very easy for me to forget the sense of my ego, and I get lost in my job. But when I relate to myself in any way, then my ego is back, and I seem not to be able to get there.
So when you're working, you can lose yourself in the work itself, and while you're lost in the work itself, you're no longer thinking. Is that right? It's kind of happening?
Well, I'm thinking, but from a different place.
From a different place.
Yeah, not thought as the identification thought, but just pure thinking.
I see.
Pure knowledge, I would say.
And then what?
Then things happen. Beautiful things happen.
Okay, while you're working, then things are happening as you're giving your attention to what is occurring, and creative thoughts, whatever you want to call them, are occurring in that moment. Huh? Purposeful thoughts that are intentional in what it is that you're involved in. I don't mean to be putting words in your mouth. I'm trying to understand. Is that correct?
You're getting the picture, yes.
I'm sorry?
You're getting the picture, yes.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Then what happens?
Then when I drive home from work, whatever, I get into my private life, then my mind or my ego takes over completely. And then I am the mind, I'm not able to locate this gap between who I am and my ego, what I think I am.
Well, where did you lose it?
On my way back from work. Something like that.
Well, then stay at work.
Yeah, I have tried that, but
well, if you can make this distinction between you and your mind, then you can observe and see for yourself when the mind enters in. When the mind enters in, watch. See where that entering in takes place. You as awareness are prior to the thoughts that you have. Do you see that? And you are able to notice that while you're engaged in creating. What kind of work do you do, sir?
innovation.
I'm sorry?
Innovation, product development.
Innovation?
What does that mean?
It's just product development with a new fancy word.
Product development.
Product
Product development.
development. Okay. Okay, so while you're engaged in this work that you do, you're able to notice a difference about the quality of consciousness. And then you're able to see that when the ego or thought enters in, a change happens in consciousness. Huh? Well, watch that difference. Stay with that difference. and see that difference and make the distinction between the awareness that you are and the thought that enters in. Inquire would be the process. Do you meditate?
Yes.
What kind of meditation did it do?
It's just, I think it's called Vipassana. It doesn't matter, but I'm focusing on my breathing. Focusing on my breathing.
On your breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that might be helpful up to a point, but inquiry is the way to deal with your mind. Okay. So I would urge you to do the process of inquiry. It's not meditation. Inquiry is not meditation, and meditation is not inquiry. Many people do not understand that. Meditation takes two to do it. So when you're meditating, it's you, the meditator, and your breath. In your case, your breath is what you're meditating on, too. But in inquiry, you might think, people think, well, it's I and the mind. But it's not. When you're meditating on the mind, you're meditating on consciousness. And so instead of two, it's just one. And you bring your awareness to the sense of I, follow the sense of I to the point where it appears to take rise as thought. And in that point where it appears to take rise as thought, make the distinction. Thought is the mind. Awareness is that in which the mind occurs. It's all going on in awareness. So you're correct when you're saying that the creativity that you do is your awareness. And then when your mind enters in, you're back into ordinary thinking and the ego enters in. Now all your conditioned patterns, your ordinary patterns of likes and dislikes, relationships, family, friends, all of that enters in, and now you're caught up in ordinary thinking. I can see that. Inquiry is the process, sir. Learn how to use the inquiry. Practice the inquiry. Come to America, to our center, and learn how to do it. Okay? That's the best that I can tell you. But if you know this awareness, then practice the awareness. You are the awareness. It's not you have awareness. You are the awareness. Make that distinction. And once you see that you are this awareness, and that you have a mind, and that the mind is the creation or the formation of the I thought. That's the first thought, the primal thought, the original thought is the I thought. Out of the I thought is the other thought. Every other thought rises out of the I thought. It can't even be there without the I thought. You see? Make that distinction and stay right there in that creative point, that place of creativity, which you know from your profession, from your work. Okay? All right. Anything else?
Well, but yeah, a week ago has happened. I've identified, I think I'm at the point of surrender to giving up the ego completely. And I think I have an ego that's struggling to maintain the
The ego is threatened. I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, there comes to the point of surrender. You know, it's I've heard this message that you are providing here. That just stay in the now, just stop thinking and all this. But still, there's something in me that struggles. When I try to do the self-inquiry, my mind says that this is not good for me.
Oh, certainly your mind's going to tell you it's not good for you.
Yeah.
That's the end of the mind if you stay with the inquiry.
Exactly. That's where I can't even start out with this self-inquiry because my mind starts to.
Well, come to America and take our ISIT program. Intensive self-inquiry program. It's an 8-day program. You come, you immerse yourself in it,
Yeah, okay.
and you'll be able, we'll kill it for you. Okay. All right, I guess we got through all 4 of you. Huh? Your questions. Huh? All right, any other questions? We only have 4 minutes. Are you back with us? You doing okay? You doing okay? Tell her what I'm asking. Ask, is she okay?
Yes, she's okay. She's always in meditation. That's all. She likes to be here with your
I'm sorry?
vibration. She would like to be here with your vibration. She says she gets good vibration. So she like to stay here.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying.
She is experiencing good vibrations here. That's why she likes to come here.
Okay. I'm glad you do. I'm happy that you do. All right. Is everyone here in this awareness, has this awareness, recognizing that there's a little different quality here than there is out on the road?
Ramana? Brian?
Yes.
So, would you not say then that some concentration power must be developed in order to stay in this awareness?
What is it? What do you need? Awareness is what you are.
Well, the mind defaults to thinking, or at least seems to.
But even when the mind and the thoughts and the thinking is going on, are you aware of them?
Yes.
Do you have to concentrate on that awareness to know that you're aware of your thoughts?
I have to concentrate on awareness
Why?
in order to
Why?
not be pulled in by the thoughts.
But even if thoughts are going on, you're not really pulled out of awareness. Right now with your body, can your body leave space? Huh? Could you move your body and leave space behind? Huh? Likewise, you can't leave awareness. How could you possibly leave awareness?
I'm not saying that there isn't awareness there when there are thoughts. I'm saying that the thoughts, we identify with the thoughts, as you said.
But you see, you're assuming that your mind is required in order for you to know awareness. You got the cart before the horse.
Okay, interesting.
Awareness is before thoughts are.
I would still maintain, though, that
Oh, I don't care what you maintain.
that one would still is still pulled in on a what's it, train of
Pull in
thought,
where?
along with thought.
What?
And if you don't have some,
You lose your awareness completely. It just leaves.
well, you identify with the thought, and
So what? When you're identified with a thought, where awareness
then
is
you're suffering.
left.
Then you're suffering,
Oh,
right?
but you're thinking the thought of suffering. And when you are thinking the thought of suffering, aren't you aware you're thinking the thought of suffering?
I would say no. You're
Huh?
not, I would say no. You're not aware.
You would say that you're not aware that you're thinking the thought of suffering?
At that point, you're identified with that thought. You're not.
So
If
when
if
you're
if you
identified,
become
aren't you
aware-
perfect? Aren't you perfectly identified when you're identified with it and aware you are?
You can step outside of it and look at it. Then you're aware of it.
Step outside of it and look at it.
Yeah.
So when you
Step
did
outside.
that, you left awareness totally behind. How did you know you stepped outside and stepped back inside?
Well, that would be the point of self-inquiry, right?
Huh? No, that's thought. But you saw all of that. You were aware that all of that was going on. You weren't?
Not when I'm in the thought.
Right now while we're talking, huh? This minute. Huh? Are you aware that fan is turning?
No. Well, now I am.
Ah, you were. Huh? You aware that the lights are on?
Now I am.
Oh, you were not aware that the lights were on.
I what?
You were aware that you were aware that the lights were on. You just weren't thinking that the lights were on. Right now, while we're talking, you aware that picture is up over my head?
I am now.
But you were not aware that that picture was there while we were talking?
My attention was not directed at that picture.
But you were aware of it.
Um,
You just didn't.
I'm not so sure of that. I really am not.
Well, you better start watching and seeing how much aware you really are that you're not aware that you're aware.
All right, I'll let it go for now.
Are we finished? Namaste. To be you, huh? You're beautiful beings. It's a joy to be with you.